evening, everyone. Welcome to the Springfield Township Board of Trustees meeting. It is April 12th, 2016. Mr. Burning, may we please have the roll call?
Yes, Mr. Burning,
Present.
Ms. McFarland,
Present.
Mr. Harnlaw,
Present.
all the trustees are present.
Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to start off the meeting. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the first thing that we have on our agenda this evening is a special recognition of service. We have Scott Hadsel here, who has been in our service department for over 30 years, and we have a special presentation for Scott. Mike, I'll turn it over to you to start that, please.
Thank you, Mr. Hunter-Law. Tonight's one of those, where is Scott? Where are you hiding? Hey, he's hiding back there. Didn't recognize you. I'm used to seeing you in something different. Tonight's one of those bittersweet moments where, we've had a lot of retirements in the last few years with a lot of long tenured employees of the township, and this is another example. Joe, as you mentioned, Scott Hadsel has been with the Township Service Department since November of 1985. And back in, March, a few weeks ago, we had the opportunity to recognize Scott among his closest family members, the guy he's spent most of those 30 years with, and wanted to formally do that again here tonight and recognize Scott's service. As we said, there's a lot of jobs that Scott has held in the department. It started, as we mentioned, back in November of 1985. In 1998, Scott was promoted to crew leader, and then in 2010, he was promoted to the position of road supervisor, and that's the position that Scott eventually retired from last week or a week or so ago, I guess. And we wanted to formally recognize Scott and have the opportunity for the board to present their appreciation for his many, many years of service. And Scott, the only thing I want to know is, did you smile last Saturday when you woke up and everything was white? You didn't even see it. See, you were sleeping in. You were probably sleeping in. So he won't have to worry about those days anymore. But Mike, I don't know, you've had the opportunity to spend many years with Scott. You may have a few words as well before the board formally.
Yes, I completely agree with everything that Mr. Hennekamp had to say to this point. In a nutshell, my 15 years working with Scott was nothing but a pleasure. And I can honestly say, even in his leadership role, not only did he make it a more productive department, but he made it about the best department it could be when it comes to working there. And I can tell you that even though he's been gone a week, he's missed. He sincerely missed. And we wish him nothing but the best in retirement.
Joe, I think this is the opportunity for the board. And
Yes, Scott, we would ask you to come forward, and we'll come down. We have a plaque to present you this evening. There you go, right there. All right. Scott, on behalf of the Township Board of Trustees, we want to present you with this certificate of appreciation for the 30-plus years that you dedicated to the township. As Mike Hennekamp and Mike Gould said, your service has been exemplary, and we appreciate everything you've done, and I know you'll be missed. But thank you for everything.
I've had a lot of journeys here, and it's been a good career, so I'm going to miss it. Yes. Definitely,
they can always use it.
Okay, moving on. Yes, yes. We also have this evening some new members of our service department that are
We're gonna
here.
do that, Joe. I think what we just wanted to mention is that, a lot of Scott's colleagues are all back here, and
Oh, absolutely,
all of
absolutely.
I don't know, we got pretty much half, just about all the crew, right? A couple, maybe not?
Yeah, it just is a sign of Scott, how much we miss him, and not only his support and what a certainly mark that he left on the service department. I made it completely voluntary for anybody that wanted to attend the meeting tonight and just show their appreciation and support to Scott. And you can see how many people showed up. And yep. The few that couldn't come, they had obligations that they just simply couldn't get out of. So it was not like I had to twist anybody's arm or anything. It's, like I said, they were happy to be here.
All right, great. All right, Mike, and I'll turn it over to you. We have some new members of the service department here as well, I believe, to recognize, or no?
We're gonna do that under the personnel report.
Okay, all right, okay. Very good. Well, thank you, everyone, and it's just another example of the kind of fine leadership, the great people that we have working in all our departments here at the township. The service department, police, fire, the administration, we're proud of everybody and the work that you do every day, and it shows in the community, it really does. So thanks again. Next, moving on to the agenda, approval of minutes. We have a regular meeting from February 9th, 2016, a regular work session February 23rd, 2016, a special meeting of March 1st, 2016, a regular meeting of March 8th, 2016, and a public hearing and regular work session on March 22nd, 2016. Do we have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are approved.
Next, Mr. Burning, do we have a fiscal officer report?
Yes, we do. For the month ending March 31st, 2016, the township's expenditures were $1,202,881.87, and receipts were $732,900.81. The ending cash balance of $19,480,327.27 includes obligations for expenditures, payrolls, regular operating costs, ongoing capital improvement projects, and investment. I do request a motion to approve the receipts, warrants, payroll expenditures, updated and current revenues, and reports for the period ending March 31st, 2016. Do I have that motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and I just want to let everyone know that financial reports are available for viewing at the administrative offices during the weekdays, during regular business hours, and on our website. That's all I have, Joe.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Burning. Next, moving on to departmental action and discussion items. Mr. Hennenkamp, do you have a report?
I do, Mr. Hunter-Law. First item is a liquor permit transfer. This is a transfer from Gazelle LLC, west portion, east portion front at 944 West North Bend Road, and the transfer is to Future Diamond, Inc., also west portion, east portion front, same address. And Chief, I don't believe there's any opposition.
No, there's no opposition there. We've had zero issues there.
Very good. With that, then, do we have a motion for the fiscal officer to send the appropriate correspondence to the Ohio Division of Liquor Control?
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item I have is to request that the board add two caterers to our approved caterer list. Those two would be Jeanette's Delicacies LLC at 5595 Beckett Ridge Road, or Beckett Ridge Boulevard, rather, in Westchester, Ohio, and Harder Investments, DBA is Dickey's Barbecue at 1227 West Ohio Pike. And I ask the motion that the board add those to the two our approved caterer list.
So moved.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next action I might have for the board is to ratify authorization for me to enter into a 3-year software agreement with OpenGov, Inc. I think this is something we took advantage of the 3 years and needed to authorize that by the end of the month, kind of in between. It's something that was budgeted, so just looking for the board's ratification of that agreement.
So moved.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And the final action item I have is to seek the board's authorization to renew our general property and casualty insurance. This is with the Ohio Plan, Inc. Good news, our renewal actually came in almost $17,000 less than our expiring policy, probably due to a couple of different factors. One, there are some properties and equipment that we've removed from the list just over the years, so some of the things are a little smaller in terms of equipment that we had on the list. Also, as part of this, part of the plan, there is a component of it called the Plan Advantage, which takes a look at your loss ratio, takes a look at your risk management policies, and then lastly, your longevity in the plan. So all of those factors added to about a total of $23,000 credit, but $5,000 greater than what we had last year. And I think the rest of it, just some changing market conditions. The insurance market's a little soft right now, so favorable conditions from that standpoint all added into those issues. There will also be one other change we'll be making. That number that I quoted will come down a little bit because the CIC will come off the township policy. We will, because it's a 501c3 now, we will have a separate policy. So at the end of the day, the costs are going to be about a wash, but it will show a reduction on this number. So our $183,000 quote will come down probably another roughly $1,500. But again, the CIC is going to have to pick that up in a separate policy. Anticipate the cost be about the same.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, now on to the anxiously awaited personnel update. In the police department, we did have a vacant lieutenant's position that I know the Chief's going through a pretty extensive process on, and happy to report that process was completed on Friday, and we had two internal candidates vying for that vacant lieutenant's position, and it was a very, very difficult and very close process with excellent candidates, but we did promote Chris Niehaus to the position of police lieutenant. Chris would be here tonight, but he's still involved in the police accreditation process. We're going through the reaccreditation process, and for the last 3 days, I think he's pretty much lived, eaten, and slept at the police department. Is that process?
He has been here for 3 straight days, essentially, working with that. So he's done an outstanding job with that, and we're really happy to have him as a part of our command staff now.
Yeah, and that's probably a good segue to mention that, while we're on that topic, obviously, I think the board had the opportunity to pop in last night. The public hearing is one of the phases of the reaccreditation. I think Mark and Joe, you had the opportunity to meet the accreditation team. So everything looks good for the on-site, so we've got favorable. Of course, we won't know probably for sure until summer or fall, depending on which process you go through. And that's something Chief and I were talking earlier today. Of course, with our last accreditation, the department reached the highest level that a department could achieve through the accreditation process with accreditation with excellence. That's not something we're going to be eligible for this year. And you were mentioning the standards have changed, so that's not even something we're going to be eligible. We didn't want people to think that there was a downgrading. That's not going to be the case. It's just a different process. You may want to.
Right. At the beginning of 2014, and we were fortunate that to be able to have the ability to get the Accreditation with Excellence Award in 2013, they changed their tier standards. To make a long story short, in order to achieve the Accreditation with Excellence, you have to meet 459 standards versus the 189 standards that we've met this time. The 459 tiered standard is for the larger types of agencies, like major cities that employ like over 1,000 people. So it was a good point that Mr. Hennekamp and I talked about this, that we didn't want anyone to think that we were eligible to do this again and didn't achieve that, so we're technically not eligible even to do that without doing the 459 standards, which for us really would not work, so.
Well, I'll tell you, I was here last night, and we listened to the accreditation team talk about, what they had found in our department, and it was all very favorable. While they don't tell you what their, final recommendations are going to be, they had some very complimentary things to say about the kind of the atmosphere, the compliance, everything that you guys do. It was very encouraging. So.
And if I may just add, we had a number of calls from the public that called and said very kind words for our agency. There's a public call-in session, and there were a number of calls, and I just wanted to express to the community that we really appreciate that support.
So are they here today and then leaving today or leaving tomorrow?
Actually, they are in the air right now on the way back to Georgia and North Carolina.
Thank you, Chief.
We talked about Scott Hatzel's retirement, and obviously with Scott as the road supervisor, that created a vacancy for road supervisor, and internally we have promoted John Galehausen to that position. So John, maybe just stand. I know John was successful in that process and internal, so we're looking forward to John's promotion. And we also did fill 2 vacancies in the department, also due to retirements over the past several months. And we have Brad Rotelli, who will be a maintenance worker, and also Robert Buckmeyer. And both of those gentlemen, if you just stand for just a second. Their effective dates, all of these effective dates, both for John and his promotion, and for Brad and for Robert, are April the 11th. So that concludes the personnel report. And Kim, I would ask you to bring us up to date on community events and programs.
Thank you. On Friday, April the 29th, we're bringing Playhouse in the Park in for a free production of The Garden of Ricky Tikki Tavi. With that, we're having a pre-show from Winton Woods Primary South. We're going to have a room full of second graders. Their chorus is actually doing the opening performance for us on that. On April the 30th, the police department is doing the National DEA Drug Take Back program, where people can drop off different pharmaceuticals. I believe the hours on that is from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Okay, and that is at the police department. And then on May 3rd is our annual Community Day at the Reds event, and discount tickets are available at the front desk of the Township Administration Building.
Thank you, Kim.
So that's,
Anything else, Mr.
Joe, that's really all I have. I know the board has copies of department activity reports, so unless there's any questions on those, that is all I have.
All right, very good. Thank you, Mr. Hennenkamp. Moving on to our resolutions this evening. The first resolution we have is resolution number 23, 2016, declaring nuisances pursuant to Ohio Revised Code section 505.87 at various listed properties within Springfield Township and authorizing statutory actions necessary to abate the nuisances. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second it?
Mr. Bernie? Aye. Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honolo?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next, we have resolution number 24, 2016, establishing assessment for abatement of nuisance and certifying same to the Hamilton County Auditor. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second it?
Mr. Bernie? Aye. Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honolo?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next, we have resolution number 25, 2016, authorizing the private sale of junk motor vehicles which were titled to the township pursuant to Revised Code Section 4513.61 and Revised Code Section 4513.62, and which are not needed or unfit for use in any township department.
So moved.
Second it?
Mr. Bernie? Aye. Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honolo?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next, we have resolution number 26, 2016, authorizing the sale by internet auction of vehicles forfeited to Springfield Township pursuant to section of the Ohio Revised Code which are no longer needed for public use, are obsolete or unfit for use in the department.
So moved.
Seconded. Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honorlo?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
And I would like to reference for the record that was section 4503.233E1 of the Ohio Revised Code for Resolution 26. Moving on then to Resolution number 27, 2016, we have a resolution authorizing the filing of an application pursuant to Revised Code Section 2981.12 and Revised Code Section 3719.11 to authorize the destruction of property in the possession of the Drug Abuse Reduction Task Force, DART, that has been unclaimed, lost, abandoned, stolen, forfeited, or otherwise lawfully seized. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded. Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honorlo?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next, we have Resolution 28, 2016, authorizing the filing of an application pursuant to Revised Code Section 2981.12 to authorize the township to retain property that has been unclaimed, lost, abandoned, stolen, forfeited, or otherwise lawfully seized. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honorlo?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next, we have Resolution number 29, 2016, authorizing the filing of an application pursuant to Revised Code Section 2981.12 and Revised Code Section 3719.11 to authorize the auction of property that has been surrendered, unclaimed, lost, abandoned, stolen, forfeited, or otherwise lawfully seized. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honorlo?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next, we have Resolution number 30, 2016, which is a resolution to amend Resolution number 20, 2016, declaring a dangerous property condition at 9623 Timber Mill Court. And Mr. Gilbert, could you kind of address the board on that?
Actually, I just want to make sure, for the record, it was 9643 Timber Mill,
What did I say?
23.
9643 Timber Mill.
Correct.
Correct.
Yes. Reference this particular case, obviously, at your hearing several weeks ago, you did reaffirm your decision to declare the property dangerous and pursue the demolition of the property. This particular resolution this evening simply specifies who will be on the property to complete that demolition pursuant to the statute which requires it. So we will be moving forward with the demolition of that property on or after April 24th.
And this is going to be Al Geyer and Son.
Correct.
That's going to do the demolition work.
That is correct.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Bernie?
Aye.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honorlo?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Very good. Thank you. Next, under old business, do we have any old business before the board? No. How about under new business?
I would just like to indicate that a lot of 4 to 5 of those resolutions that we resolved this evening and moved to accept them are vehicles and articles that are going to be in our police auction. And can you Chief Browder, can you go into more detail? I know a lot of folks who've been here for a while, they're aware that this was something we used to do maybe, 3-4 years ago? We started and everything went on the internet, so I'm going to let our chief kind of explain the process and where the auction is going to occur.
Okay. Firstly, on the vehicles, several years ago, we began doing internet auctions, specifically eBay. So we consistently have vehicles that are on eBay for auction. The auction for the other property is going to occur Saturday, May the 21st, down at the Service Department facility. The viewing will be 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., and then the auction will begin at 9 a.m. What we will have on our website is a complete list of all of the items that will be auctioned. There's quite a few items: appliances, televisions, furniture, all sorts of things, tools. So that list will be available for viewing on our website. And again, that's Saturday, May the 21st. The auction begins at 9 a.m.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Any other new business before the board?
That's all I have.
One thing I did run across this past week was I received some emails. There's a new bill pending in the state legislature pertaining to expedited foreclosure proceedings. It looks, for the initial reading that I saw, it looked to me like there were a number of problems with the bill. In fact, I think it kind of takes away a lot of the procedural safeguards, due process safeguards that exist in the law now. And they allow lenders, if they declare your property is abandoned, which can take as little as trash in the yard or the failure to have window treatments on more than one window, it allows them to sell the property in expedited fashion, sometimes even an internet auction with no minimum bid. And it's kind of a complex bill. I know we're going to be looking at it at the Hamilton County Land Bank, and it'll probably be back here next month to talk further about it. I know the board and Mr. Hennenkamp and Mr. Gilbert and I have had discussions in the past about the foreclosure process and the problem that a lot of foreclosures can take over a year, and then we have blighted properties during that period, sometimes even longer. But this one maybe goes too far the other way, that it could be dangerous and I think open for fraud in the hands of the wrong people. So we're going to be looking at that and probably, I would think, wanting to make because it is an issue that applies to our local government as it does many, making our comments known to our legislatures here in the near future. Anything else?
Thanks for the update.
No problem. Okay, we're now to the portion of the meeting for citizens' participation. If there is anyone here this evening that would like to address the board, we would ask that you come up to the podium, you state your name and address, and then we'd ask that everyone else remain quiet so we can hear what the speaker has to say. Is there anyone here that would like to address the board? Yes, sir.
My name is Chester Banks, and I live at 1334 Rivera Place. And I'm the past president of the Lexington Heights Civic Association, and I'm proud to announce our new president that we have elected. And you probably know a lot about him. He's been active in our community for over 30 years, and I trust him to do a good job. So I hope that you also will have cooperation with him in helping out our section of the Lexington Heights Civic Association. So I want to introduce Mr. Angelo Bryce.
Yes.
To the board and Mr. Gilbert, Mr. Honolaw, Mr. Hennenkamp, to the chief. I knew you before you became the chief. And of course, Ms. McFarland. It's my pleasure to stand in this position for this community. I've been in the community since 1969. As a kid, I was raised in the community. I grew up in the community. I've had some run-ins with the police in the community. as a kid. As you can see, time has done what time does. My head is white now, so that means that I'm wiser. And I'd like to be able to work with this group of associated men and women and to see if we can do some things to improve this Lexington Heights community and the surrounding areas. I appreciate it. I extend my right hand to you, and I accept yours in return. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Price. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board this evening? Okay.
How everybody doing?
Good, how are you?
Great.
First of all, I'd like to, don't follow that.
Sir, for the record, will you state your name
Oh,
and
sorry.
address? Yes.
Joe Rivers.
Thank you, Joe.
Where do you live, Joe?
I'm, live at 2068 Blue Hill Drive, Seven Hills subdivision.
Thank you.
And, I would, I'll leave it down there. I would like to, take time out and, for a moment of silence for a member of our group that was found dead. And, he was a really good guy. His name was Dan Evans, and his wife was Catherine Evans. And I'm trying to find a picture of them. And if we can just have a moment of silence for that, I appreciate it. Thank you. This letter is from my wife, and I'm going to read what she couldn't be here, so I'm going to read what she said. It's for Don and Kathy. I would also like to thank Cindy Pullman, Mike Good, Dave Duggar, Springfield Township members for all the support they have done to help with the cleanup of Seven Hills community. We ask if you all will continue to help us as SHAG move forward to make a difference in our neighborhood. And we really appreciate all the work that you guys have done and helping us get the neighborhood together. We have started a Seven Hills Action Group. It's like a community council, and I don't want to pass it. I'll take them back. You just let them go around. And that's one of our flyers that we're going to do door to door to try to get more participation. We got a neighborhood cleanup May the 7th. We're passing those out through the neighborhood. We also got a maintenance program we're doing for the handicapped, the elderly, for people that can't clean their yard up or get their grass cut or pick up litter or whatever out their yard. We got maintenance guys of our own that's going to do that. Pass that out too. Also, we got liability forms that, people that want the work done, they have to sign a release of liability. And okay, here's a picture of Dan and his wife. It was more like a murder-suicide. I guess you guys heard about that, didn't you? Yeah.
Yes, we did.
So I personally want to thank you guys for helping us. We've been getting a lot of participation at you guys. Usually when we call with complaints and issues, they jump right on it and kind of get everything squared away. We know we got to take baby steps. It's going to take a minute, a while. It didn't get like that overnight, and it's not going to be corrected overnight. Just a few more issues. We really like just a little more participation from the police department. We still got the blaring of the music, we still got the litter, we still got the speeding up and down the highways, blowing the stop signs. And if we can just get a little more participation from the police department. However, I did sign a letter as vice president of SHAG, because I know Officer Rick, is it? Yeah, he wanted me to do an endorsement so they can receive some kind of grant program. You know about that? So that's about all I have. We got a meeting scheduled next week, and we hope we can get a good turnout so we can turn Seven Hills around. I don't want to move. I got too old to move. So we're going to try to take the neighborhood back. You know. And I was talking to Reverend Bryce here. We're going to sit in on his meeting and see how we can come together on things, and maybe, you know, two heads are better than one. So that's all I have. Thank you. Thanks, Mike and Cindy. You're doing a good job. And what's the other one? David. Is he in here? Oh, okay. Because I never met him.
Mr. Rivers, thank you for all your kind words, and thank you for all the work you're doing there in Seven Hills to try and turn the area around.
Oh, okay.
I see you have a May the 7th, Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have a cleanup, it looks like. The Great American Cleanup.
Volunteer cleanup, you know, walk around, pick up paper.
Yeah.
We got, matter of fact, on Seven Hills, is some Forest Park property. We actually got them to clean that up, where old Kmart used to be.
Mm-hmm.
So we got them to clean that up. We got Metropolitan Housing, we got them to clean their area up. So if you go in Seven Hills now, when you first come in there, you'll be shocked at what you'll see. People have noticed the way it's looking.
Good.
You know, so
That's excellent.
it is making an impact on what we're doing.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for all your efforts for the community.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board this evening? Yes.
Kyle Hufford, 8527 Pringle Drive. I had a couple questions about the OpenGov website you guys are going to be using. How much does that cost?
It's actually it's not a website that we're using. It's actually a software product that we'll be using. It's $10,300 is the first year, and then it's, I think, $6,700 each year thereafter.
But isn't there also a website component to that, similar to what the state's doing?
What the state's done is they've done their own and created their own website off of one component of what OpenGov does.
Okay. So I guess what my question is what was the motivation to use that instead of what the state is offering for free?
This is entirely different. What the state offers is one tiny little piece. What we're talking about is the full platform. So it's
Okay.
purely for internal use for all of our finance, all kinds of different finance things. Eventually, the checkbook might be a thing that the board decides to post on a website, in addition to many, many other of the features that platform has.
So with
either
this,
on the state's or our own website.
so with this, none of the stuff's going online. It's just an internal tool.
It may go online. I mean, internally, that's not the primary purpose isn't to put it online. Primary purpose is what the tool will be used for in day-to-day decisions by all the departments. But yes, many of those features could eventually be put online, including the checkbook.
Thank you.
Sure.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the board this evening? It appears that there is not. Do we have any other comments, questions by the board?
No, I haven't.
No? No, sir. Okay. Do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.